Hiya, welcome to my Compound Life. I'm your host, Jonathan. This is a channel where we build assets, build habits, build freedom, and that will be financial freedom for all of us. Okay, so yesterday I've made a video specifically looking into the topics Bitcoin hitting $1 million, right? Dollars, not pounds, in 10 years' time. And that would definitely take place, right? But if Bitcoin at current price of 93,000 USD, US dollars, or just call it 100,000 US dollar for now, right? This still seem out of reach for many. Well, at least for me, right? When I am retired or for someone who's in ordinary salary, it's totally out of reach for us to immediately acquire a whole Bitcoin, right? So the real question every normal person will ask is, if you're on a UK salary, a median salary of approximately £39,000, can you actually stack enough to change your life? Stack enough Bitcoin to be life-changing, right? Or can someone who's in a median income can actually own a full Bitcoin, right? So in today's video, we'll be covering a few things. Why owning one whole Bitcoin? It's basically impossible for many, especially if you're in a median salary range, right? Number two, exactly how many Bitcoin can you get or save up in a matter of 10 years, right? With a median salary, right? And number three, how long until you hit $1 million, right? If you consistently stack, right? If you want to hit that 1 million USD, which is approximately 750,000, how many long years does it take? And of course, I'll just call out my that simple plan to make it happen, right? If I were you, if I want to, have a good retirement money with Bitcoin, these are some of the things I would do. And finally, of course, I also want to do some comparison when is investing in Bitcoin actually better than S&P 500 or the Max 7 stocks, okay? So, of course, my numbers today are all based on a very, very conservative 27% CAGR of Bitcoin return. That's an annual return. Michael Saylor says 29 to 30%, which of course make everything even faster if we base on his calculation, right? But I'm just taking it a little bit more conservative. So current price, Bitcoin price is $93,000. So let's go, right? Let's specifically look into it. So the first topic that I want to cover, the reality check, because very likely for many of you guys that are just about to start your journey, right, with Bitcoin, is you will never own one full Bitcoin. Okay, so let's kill the dream right now with cold hard maths. Okay, so current Bitcoin price is at $93,000, and the UK average saving from recent survey is around £16,000 per annum in a recent 2025 survey. Assuming every single one of you guys can actually save that, and also assuming that none of you will be going all in with that £16,000 into Bitcoin. So let's assume half of that, £8,000, goes into stacking Bitcoin, right? So you stack £8,000, that is roughly 10,700 US dollars. So here's the breakdown. Year one, you buy 0.115 worth of Bitcoin, right? So that's approximately 11.5% of a whole coin. That feels amazing. I know that definitely feels amazing. It's like you're kind of starting your journey to try to own one full Bitcoin, right? And in year 2, price gone up by approximately 20%. So that is based on my estimate of that 20% annual CAGRs on Bitcoin. So that means you only get to buy 0.09 worth of Bitcoin. So that's like a 9% as opposed to 11.5%, right? So in year 1, you can buy 0.115 Bitcoin. In year 2, it dropped to approximately 0.09%, 0.09 worth of Bitcoin, okay? So let's skip all of this to year 5, right? So year 5, down to approximately 4% worth of a whole coin per year, right? Taking that 27% Bitcoin inflation over that, that 4 years period. And by year 10, right? So that's decades later, right? 10 years later, right? Bitcoin, from our initial estimate, will get near to approximately $1 million per coin, right? Based on our estimate yesterday that Bitcoin can hit USD 1 million within this decade. So your 8,000 pound now can only buy a pathetic 0.013 Bitcoin, right? Just 1.3% worth of a whole coin, right? So after 10 perfect years, you own roughly 0.49 Bitcoin, okay? After 20, and here's the brutal truth, right? Even if you stack 8,000 pounds every single year forever, right? The absolute maximum you will ever own is 0.539 Bitcoin. Okay, that's the mathematical ceiling. That's the reality you need to face, right? So this is why I would always tell you to find ways to maximize your saving, find more side hustle, grow your earnings so that you can put more and essentially beyond just 8,000 pounds per annum, okay? Why? The price grows 27% a year for Bitcoin. Your pounds, your US dollars that you earn are fixed, okay? You're sprinting after a rocket that's pulling away faster than you can run. So forget about 1 Bitcoin equal 1 Bitcoin that you always hear, the influencer talks about the meme diet in 2021, okay? The new goal for normal people in the UK that earns the median salary, what you're trying to aim for will probably be between 0.4 to 0.5 worth of Bitcoin stack over the next decade. And this has rightfully become the new normal. As $1 million worth per Bitcoin, if you have 0.4 to 0.5 Bitcoin, that's 300,000 pounds to 400,000 pounds that you have potentially compounded over the decades. At $2 million worth of per Bitcoin, if you have 0.4 to 0.5 Bitcoin, that's 600 to 800,000 pounds, right? And essentially that's generational wealth from putting away simply 667 pounds a month. So what you need to do is stop counting coins like number of Bitcoin, but really start counting the pounds you can potentially allocate or save into Bitcoin and let the price do the rest. Okay, the second things that I want to cover, your 8,000 pound per year ISA, how does that play out, right? So 10-year snapshot, Rachel Reeves obviously kept our cash ISA at £8,000 from 2027, that's perfect, right? That leaves us £8,000 of your £20,000 allowance for stocks and shares ISA, right? So stack £8,000 a year tax-free into Bitcoin ETF or spot holding of Bitcoin. And after 10 years, you're invested in approximately £80,000 in total. So you own 0.49 Bitcoin. When Bitcoin hits $1 million, that's a $490,000 portfolio, right? Roughly £360,000. So now let's unpack if that's actually good or just hype. So short answer, it's brilliant, right? For someone on a 39,000 median salary, right? So you're turning 20% of your annual take home into a 4.5x multiplier on your total cash invested. So that's £80,000 saved, becoming 370,000 in wealth. So give you more context, the average UK saver has under £20,000 in investment total after a decade of life, right? Bills, kids, emergency, and so forth. So this Bitcoin stack alone could fund a £250,000 house deposit, right? Wipe out student debts, or even help you to kickstart your early retirement. So I know it's not Lamborghini money, right? You can't go to the moon or get a Lambo with it, but it's different between scraping by at age of 65 and sipping tea in Spain or in somewhere in Asia, right? So on a median salary of £39,000, that's life elevating. It's a life elevating money for you, not just changing, of course. And compare it head to head with the safe play, something like Vanguard S&P 500 ETF that you can buy, ticker symbol VUSA. Historically, 10-year annualized return as of November 2025, it returns you around 14 to 15%. So if you DCA £8,000 a year at that rate, you end up with £180,000 to £190,000 after a decade. So giving you a solid 2.2 to 2.4x return, enough for a nice person's top up, your pension top up, but half the firepower of Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin 27% CAGR model, which tracks its real 60% plus historical 10 years average from 2015 and 2025. So nothing beats Bitcoin. So in a way, you kind of compare this like S&P 500 is like the turtle. You know, it's steady, it wins, help you win the race, but you're not racing to win for your financial freedom anytime soon, okay? So the next question you might ask, can any ETF, any other ETF, beat Bitcoin's rocket? So over the last 10 years, a few of the growth beasts came close, right? But none consistently smoke it long term. So just to call out a few, Van Eyck Semiconductor ETF, ticker symbol SMH, 30% annualized between 2015 to 2025, matter of 10 years, turning your 80,000 DCA into 500,000 pound. So definitely crushed Bitcoin in 2023 AI surge, but it's basically NVIDIA on steroid. So same volatility as Bitcoin and now correlates 70% with it, right? So something like that. Or the other one would be Invesco QQQ, 20% annualized. If you have invested that amount of money in your portfolio, it should be about £280,000 right now. Certainly, it can outperform S&P 500, but trailed Bitcoin's wild ride, and that it kind of cooled off to about 21% return annually if we take year to date for 2025, right? So not exactly beating Bitcoin. ARK Innovation, ARKK, it was explosive. That's returning approximately 40% annual return during the bull year. That's back in 2020. But for 10 years, for the reason for but the 10 years, it kind of lags Bitcoin at 15 to 20% due to 2022, where it has that 67% crash, right? So a lot of respect to Cathie Wood with her high-risk innovation bet, but not a steady outperformer because tech basket are too wide, right? So bottom line, Bitcoin 4.5 isn't bad. 4.5x multiplier isn't bad at all. It's elite for retail investors. So that's why I've got so much conviction on this piece, right? So the third thing that I want you to see based on your median salary, what's the path to $1 million or 750 pound Bitcoin portfolio. So keep stacking the same 8,000 pound a year. Year 10, that portfolio will be approximately 490,000 USD. Year 14, Bitcoin will reach approximately $2 million. So your 0.51 worth of Bitcoin, less than one Bitcoin, I need to highlight, over $1 million, that's over 750,000 pounds. So 3 cases for you guys, right? The timing, right? It's always about the timing. The base case, 14 years, you get to 750,000 pounds, right? The bull case, if we take on Saylor's estimation of Bitcoin's return of 30% CAGR, you get there as little as 11 to 12 years, right? So that would be the bull case. So within a decade, you consistent pound cost averaging in 8,000 pound within 11 to 12 years, you will see that 750,000 pound return. And of course, in a bear case, 16 to 17 years to get there, right? All while investing less than 20% of your average UK salary. Okay, so that's good. That's a very, very good return. So here's my dead simple plan, right? Open a stock and share ISA today. Vanguard, if they offer Bitcoin ETF, trading 212. And then set up 667 pound monthly direct debit, automate it and forget it. Just automate it, take that from your main account. And of course, you track the number of sets in a Google Sheet or apps, let you know how much you've been stacking. And the aim is to never sell, right? Never rebalance. You want the winner to coast and go far and never panic during bear market period, right? And if you're someone under 40 years of age, what really helps is increase the stack by around £1,000 every 5 years or every 3 to 5 years as your salary grows, right? So essentially, all of this can really help you to accelerate and get to that $1 million or 750,000 pounds, right? So that's it. 667 a month today buys tomorrow's house, kids' university, early retirement, retirement in Asia, right? And so on. Okay, so last but not least, I just want to quickly do some comparison between Bitcoin versus S&P 500 versus Mag 7, right? Same £8,000 a year for 10 years. Bitcoin would get us to approximately £360,000. S&P 500, if assuming the CAGR is approximately 10 to 12%, it will only return us after 10 years approximately 150 to 170,000 pounds. Compared to Bitcoin, that's half of it, right? For Mag 7 growth stocks, maybe you might be able to achieve similar to Bitcoin's return. That will be between £250,000 to £300,000 if the AI booms continue. However, for Mag 7, you always have to pick the next NVIDIA and pray that it pumps, right? So is NVIDIA already all-time high? How many NVIDIA are there for you to pick off, right? So guys, I'm sorry to inform you all that Bitcoin isn't about getting rich quick anymore, right? However, it's about getting rich consistently. £667 a month for 14 years, one asset. Give yourself one Bitcoin full cycle, right, to experience this, to experience the growth, right? You will see the return after for sure. A lot to take in. So thanks for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.